Your love is like bad medicine. Bad medicine is what I need. Whoa, whoa, shake it up. See, my whole version of it is a completely different take. My influences and John influences are kind of different, and the amalgamation of those influences kind of create that sound that is Macho. One of us, when we sit down to write, one life experience might take prevalence, and dare I say, in that specific period of time, I had some crazy-ass, tumultuous relationships that I was going through. One girl that I was completely in love with left me, and that was, I'll be there for you, you know. I guess this time you're really leaving. I heard your suitcase say goodbye. Ooh. All right, you got my attention. You know what I mean? So it was actually born out of an experience that I was living. Bad Medicine was about the same girl. I was just drawn to this woman, sexually and physically and mentally. I mean, but it was bad. It was bad medicine, but that's what I wanted. I wanted some more of it. Well, I think the most interesting part of that song, it was the first time we ever used characters. And quite frankly, it was because in our life at that point, at that juncture in time, we were 26 years old. John's probably 24 at the time. And all we knew at that point was being on the road and women. So that's predominantly what we kind of sang about in those days. And then we decided to jump into the social lyric with Living on a Prayer and bring in two characters, Tommy and Gina, which essentially were some blue-collar people trying to make ends meet through life. And essentially, that was my parents. And it could have been John and I at that particular point in time. And our kind of, it was like, it could have been anything. But what that did is that they became everybody across the world. And because at a time, every couple, no matter what, is going through that hardship where they're trying to make ends meet, and it's not coming easy, and they got to get over that hurdle. So that was a very inspirational song, and it's morphed and transformed throughout the years. But the Talk Box just came about. I mean, I happened to be 15 years old when Frampton Comes Alive came out, and I happened to be in a band already, and I was working, so I happened to have some money. So I was able to go find the Talk Box, maybe the only one in New Jersey, and I had it. You know, so I basically learned how to use it, and I did it pretty well. Also, Joe Walsh was using it in Rocky Mountain Way. And I had put it down for many, many years, and for some reason, in the studio that day, I just thought, yeah, I'm just going to try this whacked idea on you guys, and you're probably going to think it's crazy, but it might be really cool. And as soon as it sounded, everybody just went, hit record.
I can't recall believing that I'd make it here alive.
7 years gone was, it seemed like about 7 years ago was when things started to kind of come apart for me. I was getting divorced, which is never pleasant. And, you know, having to be a guy that lives on the road and becoming a single father and the conflict of wanting to be there, and also my dad dying of cancer. All that stuff goes, you know, and it's not, I'm not whining about it at any point in time. I'm just like, that's kind of like what happened. And then it was like, at the end of this tour last August, I just said, that was like 7 years ago now. And it started, that's where the title came from. It was one of the first songs that I wrote for the record. And, you know, the thunder and the rain are the noise that happens in people's lives and the noise that happened in my life. And digging through my own personal life experience, I think that I've always been a guy on a songwriting level that has been able to utilize my own personal experience and own personal observation, so to speak, and then, but it becomes a universal thing. And that's kind of like what I found with this record. You know, even though I was trudging through my own personal experiences, ups and downs, and there's been a lot of them, it felt like it becomes everybody's, you know? I mean, there's more commonality to humanity, I think, than there is, you know what I mean? So I think that this is a very relatable record. That was actually mixed by a great mixer. His name is Chad Blake. And Chad does the Black Keys. And I didn't say a damn thing to him. I just kind of gave him the track and I said, do what you will. And, you know, it came back very dirty and distorted and stuff like that. And I had to live with it for a minute. And then I said, no, this is it. It creates a certain anger about that particular piece of music, which started to come through because actually Burn the Candle Down, I was writing a song about having a sexual encounter with somebody and actually at night and burning the candle down, like going for it all night. Then after like soaking up what was happening to the, believe it or not, like Occupy Wall Street thing that was kind of sweeping across the country and the world, there was an anger to that kind of protest that I said, they're burning the candle down too. So it took on a new life. So I made it a bit more angry and it became kind of like a protest song of some sort.
Empty bottle, preach the gospel. Another shot ain't coming close to saving me.
Yeah, I was a functioning alcoholic for sure. Obviously, that was a part of my life. I would have been remiss if I was set out to make an authentic record. To leave that out, people would have called bullshit on that, you know. They really would, let's face it. So I decided, you know, and so I figured I'd just set the story straight. And that's what, like, the aftermath of the Lowdown is really about, you know, and I think that it was born out of that. You know, I grew up playing the clubs, and that's the way I made my bones, and that's the way I found out who I was as an artist, you know. And you know, at that point, you're drinking every night, and at that point, it wasn't really a bad thing. It was like everybody was doing it. It took, dare I say, 35 years for my demons to actually catch up with me to a place where I had to slow down. You know, and I've lived all these lyrics. There's not a lot between me and this music. This music is me. So, I mean, that's the interesting part about this whole record. I mean, it's really authentic when it comes to that. So this lyric, the wisdom in it is like, guess what? You could dump as much stuff as you want into your body, but you can only get so high, and after that, you die.